I'll start by quoting one of your videos. You say, I know it's, by the way, my question is on climate change.
Okay.
You say...
Thank you for allowing me to prepare myself.
So you're saying, I know it's hot outside. You know what I can do about it? 0 things. Thank God we have this thing called air conditioning. It's awesome. You know, it's a great cure when it's super duper hot being in a first world country. So I agree that as an individual, you actually have no power to mitigate global capitalism-induced ecological breakdown. Therefore, I'm curious about your views on structural government policies such as net zero strategies, especially having in mind that this year we saw devastating wildfires in North America and Australia, which is the first world, and that also sadly burned the houses with the said air conditioning.
So when it comes to wildfires, first of all, a lot of controversy as to whether the extent of wildfires, which actually have not become more common over time, whether the extent of the damage of wildfires is driven by climate change or whether it's driven also by bad forestry policy. There's been a major issue in the state of California. There's a major issue in Montana where they had a major wildfire in the United States as well. When it comes to net zero policies, my big problem with net zero policies is that they are impracticable. This is my big problem. China is not signing on. India is not signing on. They're the 2 greatest polluters on planet Earth. For all the talk about the evils of global capitalism, it turns out that the giant communist state is the biggest polluter on Earth. China, by a large margin. It is not close. Okay, when it comes to other countries that are not first world countries, they have very little interest in whether or not they are emitting carbon, given the fact that many people are so poor they are burning dung for fuel. And it turns out that when you're attempting to survive past the age of 40, it's much higher priority for you to be able to survive using the resources at your disposal, including the single most effective and efficient source of energy on the planet, carbon-based fossil fuels. That is more important to you than whether it's going to warm incrementally over the course of the next 100 years. What human beings are good at and what human beings are bad at are 2 separate categories. Human beings are very, very bad at mitigation, and we are very, very good at adaptation. So we stink when it comes to, if we save a penny today, we'll save a pound tomorrow. Human beings suck at this. We're really bad at it, which is why everybody in Europe, everybody in America, 10 years from now, we're all going to be doing austerity because we're going to be forced into it because everybody's bad at this logic. But what human beings are very good at is adaptation, which is why human beings migrate, which is why human beings build new inventions and innovate. So if I'm going to invest resources, the things I'm going to invest resources in are going to be not telling everybody they have to drive their car less, which is likely to be wildly unsuccessful. What I'm going to instead invest my money is in building better levees in New Orleans. So when the hurricane does hit, the entire town doesn't get flooded. Right? Building better infrastructure, mitigating the damage is where the money actually should be going and is going to be a lot more practical in both the near and the long term than attempting to tell everybody that they're to turn their air conditioner to 75 or tell everybody that they can't drive their car as much. Meanwhile, half the globe is not on board with any of that, right? Half the globe doesn't care about that, and they're not going to care about that until, ironically, they reach first world standards via the power of capitalism. So my big problem with the climate change argument is not whether it's happening. I'm fully willing to accept anthropogenic climate change as a reality. My big problem is that the solutions that are being proposed for that are not in any way serious or practical. The only way that human beings have ever gotten out of problems of this sort is through innovation. And the real litmus test is who is willing to humor nuclear power. Right? That's the real litmus test. Many of the same people who are trying to push against mitigating factors on climate change are also pushing against nuclear power, which seems to me totally crazy.